Today, the United States clearly understands that the rise of China is no longer just a possibility. It's a reality. Many people around the world are noticing an interesting shift. Countries like India, Australia, and some African nations often take confrontational stances toward China. Yet, long-standing global powers like the US and the UK approach China with cautious calculation, sometimes even with subtle respect. This contrast reveals a deeper pattern. Major powers recognize ambition when they see it. The US knows this because it once walked a similar path, rising through bold economic moves, military strength, and strategic diplomacy, challenging global powers like Spain, Japan, and eventually becoming the center of the world economy. America understands the playbook because it wrote the original version. On the other hand, smaller countries sometimes misjudge China's rise, viewing it as inflated or temporary. That's not entirely their fault. Even within China, there are concerns about economic slowdown or whether its growth may falter over the next decades. But from a broader lens, China's current trajectory mirrors not a collapsing economy, but something much closer to what America looked like before it became the global leader during and after World War II. Both nations faced intense pressure, blockades, and setbacks, and yet they pushed through. Unlike America's rise through conflict, China continues to promote a different path, one focused on peaceful development and cooperation. Still, history teaches us that any major power must navigate the same universal challenges: internal resistance, foreign suspicion, and global expectations. If we can understand how the United States climbed to power, we might better understand what lies ahead for others on that path. So, what exactly did America experience during its rise? How did it break free from British dominance and reach global influence? And more importantly, what lessons and opportunities can everyday people draw from that story? Let's rewind to April 9, 1865. General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate South, surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant. The brutal Civil War was over. With the nation finally unified, the United States began its transformation. Like China in the 1980s, post-war America entered a period of rapid industrialization. The demand for labor exploded, and most American families had 5 to 7 children. But even that wasn't enough to support the booming factories and railroads. So immigration surged. Between 1850 and 1900, over 5 million immigrants arrived from Russia, Poland, Italy, and even China, helping to build the backbone of the American economy. In truth, population growth was the spark that ignited American industry. In just 3 decades, from 1865 to 1894, the US surpassed Britain in industrial output, becoming the world's top manufacturing power. It earned a new nickname, the world's factory. But it wasn't just the population. Almost every move China is making today, America made over a century ago. To stabilize its economy, the US government implemented policies to shape and protect its market. The Pacific Railway Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act, the Public Services Act, all designed to ensure nationwide economic cohesion and competitive strength. At the same time, the US faced resistance from the very powers it hoped to surpass. Britain, in particular, tried to block America's progress by imposing high tariffs, banning the export of industrial technology, and even restricting skilled labor migration. These moves were meant to cripple US growth. But Washington responded strategically. America fought back with trade laws, protected its own markets, and created infrastructure for innovation, patent offices, federal research programs, and education initiatives. It didn't just copy British technology, it learned from it, then surpassed it. Geopolitically, the US fought and won key regional wars: the US-British War, conflicts in the West, and standoffs across the Americas to expand its sphere of influence. Through these victories, America redefined its place in the world and fully stepped out from Britain's shadow. It had become more than just a rising nation. It had become the new global leader. So now let's return to the present. As China faces its own turning point, the choices ahead mirror those America once faced. Every economy that reaches a certain size hits the same fork in the road. Either plateau, like Japan did in the 1990s, or continue climbing, like the United States did in the 20th century. Which path China will take is becoming clearer with every trade war, technological breakthrough, and diplomatic shift since 2016. But here's where the stories diverge. Unlike America's sometimes aggressive strategy, China draws on thousands of years of civilization, offering a more measured, peaceful approach to global engagement. Still, the question remains. In a world shaped by power struggles and shifting alliances, can any nation rise without resistance? How can China, or any nation, build its own version of the North American sphere of influence while surrounded by competitive rivals. That's a story still being written, and what comes next could shape the balance of power for the rest of the century.